All right, Jason Cooper back with you on Flint's News Talk 1470 WFNT. Glad to be with you today. And we've got Amanda Renteria on the line. She's National Political Director for the Hillary Clinton campaign. We're going to first play the closing remarks before we go to Amanda from Secretary Clinton on Sunday night's debate, the presidential debate, of course, with Bernie Sanders and Martin O'Malley as well. And she brought up the Flint water crisis. And we'll play that, and then we'll talk with Amanda a little bit about Secretary Clinton, what she knew when, and her visit here to Flint.
Well, Lester, I spent a lot of time last week being outraged by what's happening in Flint, Michigan, and I think every single American should be outraged. We've had a city in the United States of America where the population, which is poor in many ways and majority African American, has been drinking and bathing in lead-contaminated water. And the governor of that state acted as though he didn't really care. He had requests for help that he basically stonewalled. I'll tell you what, if the kids in a rich suburb of Detroit had been drinking contaminated water and being bathed in it, there would have been action. So I sent my top campaign aide down there to talk to the mayor of Flint to see what I could do to help. And I issued a statement about what we needed to do, and then I went on a TV show and I said it was outrageous that the governor hadn't acted, and within 2 hours he had. I want to be a president who takes care of the big problems and the problems that are affecting the people of our country every day.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. Secretary Clinton bringing up the Flint water crisis in her closing remarks of Sunday night's debate. Joining me now, we've got Amanda Renteria. She is National Political Director for the Hillary Clinton campaign. Amanda, thanks for taking the time to speak with us today. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, and I appreciate you having me on.
No, I appreciate you guys reaching out as well. And I want to talk a little bit about Secretary Clinton's comments on the debate on Sunday evening. I've been talking about the water issues here for almost 2 years now, and interested to find out a little bit about how and when Secretary Clinton found out about the issues here in Flint, because it's picked up a lot of steam over the past couple of months or so, but as I mentioned previously, we've been talking about it for a couple of years now. So if you can give me a little bit of the background into when Secretary Clinton was made aware of this problem, and then we'll talk about your visit here to Flint.
Yeah, so it was about a couple weeks ago where the issue actually was starting to get some national coverage and saying and really identifying something had happened, and so it really hit our press to say, wait a second, there's something going on in Michigan. And, and the minute you start just digging into, Flint water crisis, you start to dig into the fact that this is affecting families and kids. That's really one of those red flags for the secretary. And her style is also, let's go figure out what's happening, and then let's see how we can help. So it was a couple of weeks ago where some things were starting to really raise attention that kids were in trouble. And when we saw that, those are the kinds of things that the secretary wants to make sure she knows about and that we're raising for her. And that's really how the conversation started with her.
Now, she said she dispatched a top aide to come here to Flint and meet with Mayor Weaver, and that's you, right?
Yeah, it is. I was able to go down and talk with the mayor, and partly I worked actually for the state of Michigan for 8 years. I worked as Senator Stabenow's chief of staff. And so I was familiar with a lot of the different issues that, Flint has faced over time, and some of the different issues in terms of Michigan, and just some of the things that keep rising to the top in terms of what's been happening there, and environmental justice issues and things like that. So, of course, I was happy to go and meet the mayor and talk with her about what was happening and, most importantly, how the secretary could help.
Well, how'd the meeting with Mayor Weaver go? I mean, I talk about this, and like I said, we've been talking about this for almost 2 years now, and even switching water sources prior to that to go to the new pipeline that was being built from Lake Huron before ultimately having to go with the Flint River as a source of water. And Mayor Weaver, new to the office, was just elected in November. She ran on the water issue. That took the front of the campaign. And, she said, hey, I'm going to declare a disaster. And really, in the past 10, 11 weeks or so, this has really picked up a lot of steam. And so interested to hear your thoughts on your meeting with Mayor Weaver and what she expressed to you.
Yeah, so it was, she expressed really a lot of frustration with trying to move things forward because she saw the issues, people talking about it. I mean, she actually talked about you could see the water. There was something not right, and people have been talking about it, and she really did. You could just sense this. She wanted to do something, and she wanted help, and she was willing to do whatever it took to get help, and she had been at it for a while trying to figure that piece out. And so our conversation really ranged from understanding what had been going on, and then our big question was, okay, now what can we do? How can we help, raise awareness? And that was a lot of our conversation, is making sure that people knew what was happening in Flint, that they just weren't out there by themselves in this fight. And, in fact, other conversations that we actually had with some reporters around, et cetera, like you, I got to learn a whole lot more that this issue has been out there a while, and people on the ground in the community in Flint have been raising awareness for a while now. And we, that for me was also important to relay to the secretary. How long has this been going on, and why haven't things been changed, and what can we do right now? And our assessment is the best we can do is that everybody can pitch in wherever they are. And so the secretary felt it was important to make sure that she was talking about the issue. Hopefully that would bring a spotlight to it even more and really help Flint get the resources they need.
The governor, he's got a State of the State address tonight, and it's expected much of the focus will be on Flint and solving the water crisis. And he's actually responded to Secretary Clinton's comments about the Flint water crisis, as well as some others, Michael Moore and Cher. And, we've had Erin Brockovich and some of her people here testing the water and stuff, and says no one's really gaining from politicizing the issue. Can you give a response to Governor Snyder's comments about politicizing the issue? He wants to solve the issue, but politicizing it isn't helping it.
So, I think some people might want to call it that, but and I think the secretary said this recently, but she wouldn't call it politicizing. She would call it getting results. And, in fact, the more it seems that she's raised the issue, whether it was a statement and then went on to TV, those are the kinds of things that really did push the governor to act. And it's unfortunate that the governor wouldn't have just acted before that, and that it took a little pushing and prodding. And so the idea that, I look at it, and I know the secretary feels the same, I think it's actually really quite remarkable that the country is coming together behind Flint and the people of Flint. I actually think that for folks to know what's happening and then to pitch in and help is a big part of it, right? And you've seen some of the Michigan delegation really jump in. You've seen, Senator Stabenow out there, Peters, and Congressman Kildee, all of them working in their different ways to help. And I know that AmeriCorps has been out there, the Red Cross has been out there. But if we can raise awareness and it brings people to the table, and again, it's not talking about it, but if it brings people to the table so that we can get some action, that is what the secretary is focused on, and what we're going to continue to, frankly, be focused on. This isn't just today it's here and tomorrow it's gone. Unfortunately, the effects of lead, it's all too well known that there are long-term effects on this. So the more people can really pitch in, the more I believe, and I know the secretary believes, that we can really help the city of Flint and the kids and families that have been affected.
Governor Snyder sent a request for a disaster declaration to the president, and the president has said that, yes, there is indeed an emergency here, but not a major disaster. And Governor Snyder has since said he'll appeal that and still ask for a major disaster declaration. Does Secretary Clinton agree with that declaration? I mean, if she were president, would it be different in her shoes? Would she have said, yeah, there's an emergency, yeah, it's also a major disaster? Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So let me clarify the under the law and what the president can do or can't do is declaring a disaster is that it was a natural disaster.
Right.
And in this case, it's not a natural disaster. It was a man-made disaster, and there is where you have the legalities of how you can deal with this problem from an administrative standpoint. But I'll let the Obama administration, handle that and certainly clarify that with folks, because I think there's probably some misinterpretation there. In terms of what the secretary believes is that everyone in the administration, whether it's federal administration or state administration, should be doing all they can within their powers to be able to do something about this. And so she does believe and has pushed on making sure the CDC and HHS is really coming in to monitor kids. One of the issues is that they can only do so much. Part of it is they can do a lot more if the governor requests it, and that still hasn't happened. So we're going to continue as much as we can here, make sure that the governor is doing everything that he can, and at the same time making sure the Obama administration is doing everything they can. And we've seen that the congressional delegation is also stepping in to make sure that that they're helping in the way that they can as well. So that's been our stance, is how do we bring the group together to say, let's get resources there.
Well, Amanda, we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today. Again, Amanda Renteria, National Political Director for the Hillary Clinton campaign. You heard the remarks in Secretary Clinton's closing statement at Sunday night's presidential debate. One last question. When can we perhaps expect a visit from Secretary Clinton? Any plans for that, whether it be to Michigan or whether it be to the Flint area directly?
Yeah, well, we are and will continue to follow this issue pretty closely, and so I don't want to speak for her schedule, but we'll continue. Again, this issue is evolving. We'll continue to be on it, and we'll let you know when she comes back out to the state. But I also just want to take the time to thank you, because I do know the reason why this has gotten attention is because of a lot of the local folks, a lot of the local reporters like yourself have raised this issue and have been following it, and it's really allowed us to really work off the great work that you've been doing. So just thank you, and I appreciate you raising the issue as well. And I'll let you know when she comes back.
Yeah, please stay in touch, Amanda, and hopefully we can have some future conversations with either yourself or Secretary Clinton herself as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right, there you go. Amanda Renteria, National Political Director for the Hillary Clinton campaign. Secretary Clinton did bring up the Flint water crisis during Sunday night's presidential debate, saying she was upset, she was angry, and it wouldn't happen under her watch if she were president. And Amanda talked a little bit about keeping Secretary Clinton apprised of what was going on and when she was made aware of it. So good conversation there. We appreciate them taking the time to talk to us, and who knows, maybe we'll see Secretary Clinton with some sort of a visit to Michigan or the Flint area in the near future. As you heard Amanda say, they are keeping her apprised of the situation as she's out on the campaign trail, and we certainly appreciate them taking the time to talk to us. All right, we got to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll keep talking a little bit more about this Flint water crisis. Governor Snyder's State of the State address tonight, probably the most important State of the State address in his career as governor. Flint expected to be the main focus of tonight's State of the State address, and it'll be interesting to hear what he says, and again, we'll be talking with him tomorrow morning about tonight's State of the State address and the focus on Flint. But the state is sitting on a almost $600 million budget surplus. And we heard former Mayor Dame Walling in here yesterday saying, $50 million will replace all the lead pipes within the city of Flint. And that was a number that we had talked about for the past year or so, leading up to November's election when he was voted out. And that's the number I think Senate Minority Leader Jim Ananich has been calling for and asking for from the state. So it'll be interesting to see what is said tonight during Governor Snyder's State of the State address tonight. We will have that up at our website, WFNT.com, and it will be streaming there. And then, again, we'll talk to Governor Snyder tomorrow morning. And then during tomorrow's show, we'll talk with Senate Minority Leader Jim Ananich as well. So lots of things happening here. The Flint water crisis getting national attention. And my thanks again to the Hillary Clinton campaign for reaching out to us, and Amanda Renteria, who used to work for United States Senator Debbie Stabenow, now working on the Clinton campaign, and actually came here to Flint and met with Mayor Weaver as well. We do have to get a commercial break in, but I got to tell you what, fifth caller right now to 810-743-8255. Again, 810-743-8255 will win $90 in gift certificates. That includes $15 each to Cranberries Cafe, Crust, Zippy Pizza, to Boone's, Big Brutus Pizza, and the Venus Family Restaurant. So fifth caller right now to 810-743-8255 will win $90 in gift certificates. Stick around. We'll be back with more conversations with Jason Cooper on Flint's News Talk 1470 WFNT.